Well, I feel like we just had one, but who's ready for another long and extensive book haul? My name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another lengthy book haul. Can you believe? There are quite a few titles in here. There's a lot of middle grade from Middle Grade March. There's a lot of YA, some adult romance, some thrillers, literary fiction. We got you covered no matter what you like basically in this book haul. But first, I would like to give a big thank you to today's sponsor, Nordgreen. Do you know what time it is? It's time for the ad.
Hey you!
Me?
Yes, you! Have you heard of Nordgreen watches?
No?
Oh, you poor, sweet, naive little fool.
Hey!
Put out your wrist and prepare to be dazzled. Amazing, right?
Magic.
And hey, if you're interested in more, there's even a discount code that I'll tell you at the very end to save you money.
Amazing.
But first, let's learn more about Nordgreen watches.
Okay.
Nordgreen is a Scandinavian watch company based in Copenhagen. Nordgreen has created a minimalist collection of classic and sustainable timepieces that are both beautiful and timeless. Nordgreen watches also allow the users to easily change out the straps of their watch as well, making each watch versatile and easy to pair with any look. The watch I've chosen is the Philosopher with stunning gold accents and classic black leather straps. I've also chosen the deep brown leather straps as another classic alternative. Nordgreen watches can dress up any outfit and make it look classic and sophisticated. For example, Nordgreen watches perfectly complement any dark academia look, bringing an air of sophistication and old-world charm.
Dashing.
Nordgreen watches can also perfectly accessorize the perfect date night look. Nordgreen watches can also go great with a casual outfit while you're sitting at home, alone, studying for your next exam. But hey, at least the watch is cool, right? Nordgreen isn't just a company that makes beautiful watches, it's also a company that deeply cares about making a difference. With each watch sold, Nordgreen is committed to supporting sustainable causes. They partner with Water for Good, so that your watch purchase will provide 2 months of clean water to one person in the Central African Republic. They partner with Protham UK, so that your watch purchase will support 1 month of education to a child in India. And finally, they partner with Cool Earth, so that your watch purchase will help preserve 50 square meters of rainforest in Latin America.
And if you're interested in purchasing a watch from Nordgreen, they have very kindly given me a discount code for all of my subscribers and followers. And so if you want 15% off of any purchase, you use the code AROSE, which I think is really cute. All of the links will be down in the description, and once again, thank you so much, Nordgreen, for giving me a discount code for all of my subscribers. I absolutely love your watches, and I know they will too. And now back to the book haul. Thank you so much again, Nordgreen, for wanting to partner with me. I really appreciate working with you, and I absolutely love my watch so much. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the book haul. So I was not going to do a book haul. However, I went to my P.O. box and I discovered that I had about 5 packages from all of you, and it just filled my heart with so much gratitude and joy that I really wanted to film an unboxing. And then I sort of bought a lot of books unexpectedly. Me? Shopping? Shocking, I know. So I think it's gonna be kind of a longer book haul. I hope that's okay. I'm probably gonna start with the packages and unboxing them, and then we'll kind of move on to middle grade, YA, and then we'll do all of the adults. There are quite a few amount of adults in here, including some romance, so I'm really excited. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the unboxings. Okay, so right away, this is packaged in a beautiful book sleeve. Oh my gosh, that is perfect for spring. Oh, that's so pretty. And there's a book in here. Let's see. Ooh, it says, what if an algorithm could find your soulmate? What if, right? Kismet, a novel, and this is by Luke Tredget. This is Black Mirror meets Bridget Jones in this whip-smart debut set in a world where the ultimate matchmaking app has redefined romance. Okay, right away, I know I'm gonna love this because I'm in the middle of reading The One by John Mars and I'm obsessed with it, and it has kind of a similar premise. So this is about Anna, who is 29 years old, smart, vivacious, and in the midst of a completely existential meltdown. You know, honestly, Anna sounds a lot like me. It sounds really, really, really cute, and I love the premise of this love story. So I'm excited to delve into this, but who is this from? Okay, there's a little bit of a note, Alexandra. Oh, and it's handwritten. Oh, I love that so much. Alexandra, thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself. You never ask for anything, so I wanted to make something for you. I don't know if you'll enjoy the book in the sleeve, but it looked kind of fun. Happy reading. And this is from Bobby Page. That is so incredibly sweet. Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, and then how cute. It also says that Bobby has their own YouTube channel, and so you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and link that down below as well if you want to check them out. That's really, really sweet. Thank you so much for the handwritten note, and thank you so much for the sleeve in the book. That's so thoughtful of you. I really appreciate it, and I will keep this in the book kind of as like a little bit of a bookmark. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, next up we've got this one. I've got a knife today, and normally I like struggle and I'm like, should I open this with a pen? Should I open this with a letter opener? Today, I just went for a blade, you know? And I feel powerful. I love it when things are wrapped. I love the book sleeve. I love wrapping. I don't know, like the aesthetics. It's just sweet, you know? Okay, I was not expecting this, but there are 3 books in here, and they're all wrapped. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the occasion is, but thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Enjoy your gift from Hunter. Oh, Hunter, thank you. Enjoy your gifts, really. Thank you so much, Hunter. I don't know why, but these bags are just so cool. Oh my gosh. You guys. I have the next book in the Fairyland series. So I don't know if you knew this, but I'm trying to collect all of these books in the Fairyland series. They are so aesthetic. They are so beautiful. This entire series mostly follows a girl named September, although I know later on in the series it also follows a little boy, and September goes to Fairyland. And I loved the first book with my whole heart. Look at this one. It is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Hunter, one of these is enough. Thank you so much. I am so incredibly excited, and right in time for middle grade March as well. Maybe I'll try to like squeeze in one of these for middle grade March. And then Hunter also gave me 2 more. So, oh my gosh. Okay, this one says 1 book for every time you got me out of a reading slump. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. At this point, I'll have to get you another bookshelf in about a year from Hunter. Hunter, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. The note itself is just so thoughtful and charming. Thank you. The next one in the series. Oh my gosh. Hunter, you're spoiling me. Thank you so much. So this one is The Girl Who Raced Fairyland All the Way Home. Look at that. Definitely getting some Alice in Wonderland vibes from the cover here. Oh, I think this is the very last one. And then finally, this one is also from Hunter, and it says, enjoy your gift. Thank you. You got me the entire series. Hunter, thank you so much. I can't believe it, you guys. I have the entire series now. This means so much to me. Hunter, I want to give you the biggest hug. First of all, you did not have to go through all the trouble to get me all of the books in this series. But second of all, I've been wanting to collect all of the books in this series for such a long time. And I just want you to know it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Thank you for your notes. Thank you for the wrapping. And thank you so much again for this really, really thoughtful gift. I wish I could hug you. Thank you so much, Hunter. Okay, let's see what the note says. Lexi, I'm so sorry for the loss of your grandma. Thinking of you and your family, I hope this brings a light in this difficult time. Your friend, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Stephanie. That really means a lot to me. For those of you who don't know, I don't ever really feel super comfortable like talking about this, but earlier this year, my grandmother actually passed away from COVID, and it was really a hard time. And I know that Stephanie as well was suffering from that. And so Stephanie, the absolute same. Back to you, and I hope you're doing okay, my friend. And thank you, as always, for just being such a thoughtful person and for sending me this. And this says, in loving memory of one who warmed our hearts and brightened our lives. Oh, I don't know what it is, but I already love it. I mean, it's just so thoughtful. This is so thoughtful, and I'm just really appreciative. So thank you so much, Stephanie. It's just this really sweet little candle, and it has that very beautiful quote, and this really means a lot, so thank you very, very much. Well, I'm a little emotional now. You know what's funny is I feel like, I know it sounds really cliche, but so many of you guys leave me so many amazing comments saying how my videos somehow like, you know, are entertaining or brighten your day or they make you happy. And I just want you to know, you do the exact same thing for me. Like, you make me so incredibly happy when I feel alone or sad and I see your lovely comments. It genuinely, I'm not just saying this, it genuinely makes me so unbelievably happy. So just thank you. That's all I'll say, but okay, let's move on. All right, next. Oh, just love it. The notes on top, it says, I bought myself a copy of this and it is beautiful. I thought you would love this stunning edition as well, from your friend, Christine. Oh, Christine, and I already know what this is because we have been chatting about it and I am so excited. First of all, it's wrapped. I don't know why, but it feels like frickin' Christmas time. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's so fun. It really is so fun to open these. And I know exactly what this is. This is actually going to be a buddy read that we do later on in the year, and I'm very excited. And it is this absolutely beautiful edition of The Princess Bride. So Christine and I have been reading a lot of classics this year. Right now we are reading Rebecca together. Last month we read Emma by Jane Austen, and this I think is gonna be our April one, and I'm just so oh my god. You guys, look at this. It has illustrations. And the whole thing is like printed on what looks like this beautiful old parchment. Oh my goodness! Can I just say too that The Princess Bride is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. When Wesley looks at her and is like, as you wish. I mean, genuinely, he can have me right here, right now, you know? I don't know if I've ever seen a more lovely edition of a book in my entire life. Oh my gosh, okay, one more. Christine, you know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to read this and then we're gonna have to watch the movie together because that just sounds perfect. Thank you with my whole entire heart. You know how much I absolutely love reading with you and I adore our friendship so much. It just makes me so happy to message you and to talk back and forth about all of these lovely classics and about our life. This means so much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love it. I love it so much. Finally, we have, let's see here. Alexandra, I love your channel. Your exuberance and joy brightens the dark COVID days. Please continue to keep your head in the clouds and your heart in many, many books. Love, Fiona. Fiona, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. And right back at you, I know that it has been a very hard year for all of us. It's just like a very anxiety-ridden time. So I am sending all of you, and especially you, Fiona, just so much love right back. And I hope all of you are doing okay. Oh my gosh. You guys? Okay. So I actually really wanted to read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings this year. I was gonna make a reading goals video and like maybe I still will, but the year is basically like passing pretty quickly. So like at this point, maybe I won't. I have The Lord of the Rings in a bind up, but my copy of The Hobbit, my dog actually chewed like 5 years ago. So like I had to give it away and like give it a resting home, you know, but because it was tattered. I threw it away basically. Like it was no more. My dog really enjoyed The Hobbit. I think she thought it was a bone. Truly, it's a story that you just want to devour, you know? But anyways, all that to say, I have been wanting this edition of The Hobbit. I forgot that I put this on my wish list. Look at how beautiful this is. This is the cloth bound edition and it is illustrated and it is stunning. stunning. So we've got some really, really cute little illustrations on all of the different parts of the book. Oh, and they're so sweet. Look at this little dragon up here. I think that there's actually some really big illustrations if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yes, like look at this one with the eagle. I mean, could you just die? It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you so incredibly much. And what a high to end on. I think those are all of the books that I have to unwrap. So I guess we can go ahead and get started with my very lengthy book haul. But once again, to every single person who has sent me a letter or a postcard, which by the way, I have received, and I'm actually writing back to some of you, I just wanted to say thank you. And I just really, really appreciate all of the time and effort that you guys always give to me through your comments, your letters, your postcards, your gifts. I just really love all of you, and I'm really, really, really lucky to have all of you in my life. Okay, well, let's go ahead and start on with the book haul. So I've got my trusty library cart right next to me, and let me just tell you, this thing is full. So let's go ahead and start with the middle grade. So the first one I have here is The Strangers, and this is by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This book actually was brought to my attention by my very good friend Kaylin, and it just sounds so incredibly fascinating to me. It's about this little family, and they move into this house, and then they learn, like the kids learn, that there are other kids who match their descriptions who have been kidnapped. They kind of get this weird, uneasy sense of like, what if those are us? There's a whole mystery involved, and it just sounds really, really good. So that's the first one. It's a little bit of like a suspenseful middle grade, and I think it's gonna be wonderful. Next up, I have Everything Sad is Untrue, A True Story, and this is by Daniel Nayeri. This cover is what first caught my eye, but when I read the synopsis, I immediately purchased it right on the spot. I did not even have to think about it, because this book, I think, sounds like the type of book that will absolutely break my heart, but in the very best way. So this book here is about Daniel, and Daniel does not have any friends where he goes to school, and I think people kind of bully him and make fun of him. They think that he is lying about the tales that he is telling them, but all of his tales are true, and they all have to do with his heritage and his family and their move to America from Iran. It sounds really, really great. I think it's also going to have a lot of really important messages. Next up is a book that I have heard tons and tons about on BookTube for many years, and I finally decided to purchase it for myself, and that is The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street, and this is by Karina Yan Glasser. This is about a family, and they are being evicted from their home, and I think the children have to sort of try to convince the landlord that the landlord should let the family stay here. It's a contemporary, but it sounds like it's a contemporary with tons and tons of heart, and I think I'm gonna love this one. Next up is a book that I have mentioned in my TBR, and I've mentioned also, I think, in middle grades that I want to read, and I'm gonna mention it again here, and that is Amari and the Night Brothers, and this is by B.B. Alston. This is a book that I am just so incredibly excited to pick up. I think it's gonna be incredible. So many of my friends have said that I'm gonna love this book who have read this book, and I think that they're right. So this follows Amari, and Amari's brother Quentin has gone missing. And one day she goes into her brother's room and she discovers a ticking briefcase. And the ticking briefcase actually leads her to discover that there is a magical school where you can have all of these abilities. She decides to go to the school, but for one purpose only, and that is to find out what happened to her brother Quentin. I mean, the intrigue alone, like, who wouldn't want to read this? Next up is a book, and I found this book from Katie's channel from Life Between Words, and this is Savvy, and this is by Ingrid Law. So this is about a family, and the family have little abilities or special talents, and they call those savvies. And so this follows Mibs, and she is going to be getting her savvy power. However, around this time, her father is actually in a terrible accident. And so now all she wants is to hopefully use her power to somehow save her father. I think that this is going to be really, really sweet. I really love the idea of like this magical talent and somehow trying to connect this talent to saving her father. So I have very high expectations and hopes for this one. Next up is The Hat Makers, and this is by by Tamsin Marchant. This book actually was brought to my attention by my good friend Gavin, who told me that I would absolutely love this book. And I am so excited to start it. I feel like I say I'm so excited for every book, but the truth is, I just really love books, you know? Anyways, in this world, the magic is actually crafted by people who produce things. So like this girl's family, they make hats. And so all of the magic is stored in the hats that they make. There's also boot makers who have magical shoes. And then I think there are watchmakers in here as well. So the main protagonist, Cordelia's father, actually goes missing. And then this magical hat that was supposed to go to the royal family also goes missing. And Cordelia believes that both of these events are connected. And so she is trying to figure out what happened to her father and also what happened to this magical hat that her family has created. I think it's going to be really charming and whimsical, and I get so many good vibes from the cover. What can I say? I'm excited. Next up is When You Trap a Tiger, and this is by Tay Keller. This is inspired by a Korean folktale, and I think that this is going to be really, really fantastic. This is about Lily, and Lily lives with her family and her sick grandmother, and her grandmother tells her stories all of the time about tigers. One day, however, one of the tigers from her grandmother's stories appears to Lily and offers her a deal. But as the old legend goes, never make a deal with a tiger. And so we're just gonna kind of see what Lily's journey brings her with this tiger. I think it's going to be great. Also, I think that this has just won the 2021 Newbery Award. So again, that's just another little nudge for me to want to pick up this book. Next is a book that I found from Middle Grade March's selection this year. This is the group pick, and it is The Brave by James Bird. This book follows Colin, and Colin has a very unique condition which has him count all of the letters in all of the words that are being spoken to him. And before he speaks, he always lets the other person know the amount of letters that they have just spoken. This can kind of drive people away from Colin, and one day his father decides to send him to live with his mother, who lives on a reservation. Colin and his mother are both Ojibwe, and I think that a lot of this book is exploring his heritage and his family. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I've heard really, really great things, and once again, I'm very excited to pick this up for the month of March. Next is a book that won the Newbery Honor Award, and that is We Dream of Space, and this is by Erin Entrada Kelly. Now, I read the other book from this author, which I think was called something about the universe and us, and I really, really enjoyed that one a lot, so I know that I really like this author's writing, but I was really intrigued by this one because it is about three siblings who all live in the 80s, and they all are dealing with very different things, and so they feel like they are almost alone in the universe. So I believe that this novel is going to explore complexities of sibling relationship dynamics. I think it's going to kind of have one of those interesting themes of like maybe we're all connected or maybe we're not as separate as we think we are. That's just kind of what I'm getting from the synopsis. And I don't know, I think that this is going to be really, really cool. So I can't wait to pick this up. Next is a book that I was a little nervous to purchase because I think it's going to be delving into some really hard topics to read about. However, I am really excited to pick this book up, and that is Fighting Words, and this is by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. This particular middle grade is about two sisters, Della and Suki, and they are in the foster care system. Their mother has just been incarcerated, and they've just escaped a very toxic living situation with their, I think, stepfather. And a lot of this book is exploring basically having the courage to speak out when something bad has happened. And be careful when you pick this book up, because right off the bat, the trigger warnings for this are abuse and also sexual abuse within the middle grade genre. I'm interested to see how it's handled, but I do think it's going to be a difficult read because those topics are so incredibly sad and horrific to read about, especially I think in middle grade. But I've been hearing excellent things about this book. It's been getting a lot of recognition. Hopefully it doesn't make me cry too much. And I think that is it for the middle grade. So now let's go ahead and move on to the YA books. Okay, so for YA, we have 6 books. YA, I have to say, is really nailing it right now because their covers are beautiful, all of the synopsises sound incredible, and every time I'm in Barnes & Noble, I just want to take them all home with me. The first one is one of the most striking covers I've ever seen in my entire life, and that is What Big Teeth, and this is by Rose Zabot. I mean, look at this. This is so incredible. I want to be friends with her. I don't know. Don't you just want to hang out with her? I do. So this is My Grandfather's Face was the one I remembered most vividly from childhood, but I didn't feel the way I used to when I looked at him. I was afraid. So this is all about Eleanor, and Eleanor has a family of monsters. She tries to escape her bloodthirsty family by going to a boarding school, but when something happens, she is drawn back home, and she has to learn to embrace the monster within. If you are new to this channel, you won't know this, but I actually love monsters. I love all spooky things. I love Halloween, and I don't know. I love the idea of like monsters being like misunderstood creatures. So as soon as I heard about this, I immediately had to purchase it. I think I'm gonna love it. I love the themes of it already. So yeah, I really, really can't wait. But also, what a beautiful book. Next up is The Castle School for Troubled Girls, and this is by Alyssa Shinmeal. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. So this is about Moira, and Moira's parents send her to this private school, and it's all girls, and it seems very odd, and she thinks that the school isn't all that it's saying it is. And then one night she hears music from far away and learns that there is the exact same school for boys not too far away. I think it's about Moira trying to discover what's really happening at the school and maybe connecting to one of the people from the other school. I think it's gonna be a good time. I can't wait to read it. Next up is The Ravens, and this is by Cass Morgan and Daniel Page. This is also a Barnes & Noble YA book club selection, so how exciting is that? So this book is about a sorority, and the sorority sisters are all witches. As soon as I heard that, I was like, you know what, sold. This also takes place in Savannah, Georgia. I love the South. I live in the South. I love Savannah, Georgia as a place in general. I think it's gonna be a spooky, good old time. Next up is The Project, and this is by Courtney Summers. I've been hearing some mixed reviews about this book, so I'm not exactly sure if I will love it or if I will hate it, but I really wanted to give it a shot for several reasons. Number one, I love Courtney Summers. She wrote Sadie, and Sadie was one of my favorite books when I read it. I think I read it like 2 years ago. But also, I love the cover of this. It really drew me in. I think it looks so creepy and so cool. And also, this is about a cult, and I feel like cults are really interesting to read about in books in general. So I don't know, it had a bunch of elements that really intrigued me. But this is about two sisters. One of the sisters is kind of unfortunately sucked into this cult, and her big sister has to try to protect her. Other than that, I don't really know a lot about it, but I am interested to see, what really happens in this book. Next up is a newer book, and that is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This particular book follows Greek mythology, and in this world, the Greek gods, to kind of like pay as a punishment for their past sins, they are reborn as mortals every so often. The people whose lives they've kind of messed up get to try to hunt them down. So it's a little bit like the Hunger Games, but meets Greek mythology. This book follows our main protagonist, Lore, who typically stays out of the games, but decides in this round to team up with two other gods, and they're gonna try to win this hunt. I think it's gonna be really, really cool. I love Greek mythology, but also I just love the premise of it. I think it sounds so unbelievable. So I might actually be reading this one this summer. And then finally, the very last book here is a book that has been talked about nonstop on BookTube, and of course I had to get it, and that is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. If you didn't know this, I actually have all of the books in her Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I read the first book, I think when it first came out, and I loved it. But then I never actually finished the series, and it has been years and years since I have read that. So I think what I really want to do is this summer, I want to try reading all three of the first ones plus this book. And this follows a girl who essentially shoots down a fairy accidentally, and her punishment is to go into the fairy realm and basically be this fairy's prisoner. And we sort of see her in this fairy realm. I'm not going to tell you what this book is about or what any of the other books are about aside from that first book, because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, if you're interested in fairies and in some very steamy, in my opinion, very adult-like romance, you might want to pick this series up because it is very good from what I've read so far. All right, and that is it for YA, so let's go ahead and move on to the adult. And let's start with a little bit of romance. Love is in the air, and not real love, but book love, which is better. All 3 books that I have here are books that I found from Chandler Ainsley's video, which is if you like this book, then you will love this book. Every time she mentioned a book, I was like, yep, wanna get that. The very first book that I have here is Tools of Engagement, and this is by Tessa Bailey. Technically, I think that this is the 3rd book in her Fixer Upper series. However, Chandler doesn't like some of the other books in the series, and she says that you can read them out of order, so I picked this one up because this was the book that she was recommending. And this is about Bethany, and Bethany is, I think, in a little bit of a competition with her brother about fixing up this house. And I think she starts to fall in love with the handyman who is helping her fix this house. I think there's like a TV crew that is following her around as well. It's sort of like an HGTV thing, which is wonderful because I love HGTV. I live for House Hunters, and like that's all I'll say about that. But I think that this sounds really, really cute, and I'm very excited to read this book. Next is a book that she said that she recommended for people who like The Hating Game. I think I'm getting this right. It was either The Hating Game or The Honeymooners, and I love both of those books so much. The Hating Game is just, it's like one of the best things I've ever read. The book that I have here is Shipped, and this is by Angie Hochman. Also, what a fun cover, especially for summer. I don't know, I'm really living for summer vibes right now. So this is about Henley and Graham, and there is a little bit of an office rivalry between the two of them. They're both trying to get the same position at their company, and so they both sort of hate each other. It's got that trope of like enemies to lovers. And to compete for this, they both have to go on this cruise basically that their company is paying for. I don't know, it just sounds really, really good. Like, I love the enemies to lovers trope so much. I also love that they're both going to be on vacation together. I think it's gonna be really awesome, especially for the summertime, so I cannot wait to read this one. And then finally, I purchased Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and this is by Talia Hibbert. This has really taken the romance world by storm, like this entire series, and I've been really, really wanting to pick this up for quite a while. So this is about Dani and Zaf, and Dani is a very driven woman at her workplace. She knows what she wants, and she is working really, really hard to get it. But then one day there is an office fire, I think, or a fire drill, and Zaf actually rescues her, and the rescue goes viral. And so there's a little bit of a fake dating element because Zaf begs Dani to kind of go along with it, and so Dani says, okay, we can pretend to fake date. But then I think feelings develop, and I think it sounds really, really cute. So I can't wait to read this one either. Okay, and now let's go ahead and move on to the rest of the adult. Okay, so first up, we've got some poetry. This one is Billy Collins, Sailing Alone Around the Room. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, but I'm trying to read a poetry collection every month. I don't have one put on my March TBR, I don't think, because March was already like really focused on middle grade, but I'm trying to read more poetry, and I have taken Billy Collins' masterclass, and I really like him a lot as like a teacher or like a professor of poetry, and so I just thought I would pick up one of his poetry collections. And then this one is September Love, and this is by Lang Leave. I love all of Lang Leave's work. I have every single book that she has written, and I also have all of the books written by her boyfriend, Michael Faudet. I just think that she has such incredible talent, and I think that her poems are my favorite poems out of any poet or any poetry collection that I've ever read, and so I needed to pick up her newest collection. Next up, I have a book that I, to be honest, don't know a lot about, and that is Conversations with Friends, and this is by Sally Rooney. I picked this up for the Taylor Swift readathon because this is actually one of Taylor Swift's favorite books, and I really wanted to try reading one of her favorite books for the Taylor Swift readathon, but I don't know a lot about this. I think that there is a girl in here who has like multiple relationships. One, I think, is going to be with a man named Nick. I think it explores the complexities of growing up and about navigating different types of relationships. But other than that, I just don't know a lot about it. So I'm excited to read this and see if I like it as much as I liked Sally Rooney's other book, Normal People, which I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. Next up is We Run the Tides, and this is by Vendela Vita. I think that this cover is beautiful. You know what? I have found that I really gravitate towards a couple different types of covers. The first is illustrated covers. Love them so much. But the second are covers that have a lot of color colors on them. So like this one kind of just has like all of this mix of different colors, and I think it is so beautiful. I don't know. So this particular book is about two best friends who live in San Francisco, and then one day on the way to school, they witness, I think, like a really big crime. And this crime kind of haunts their friendship, and I think the book just explores their friendship and about how this particular thing that they witnessed really kind of works its way into all areas of their friendship. I think it's going to be really, really cool, and I love the fact that it happens in San Francisco. Like, what a fun setting. So next up is this stunning version of The Divines by Ellie Eaton, and I don't know why I said version. There's like only one version, but you know, it's fine. I just think that this is so pretty with this beautiful pastel pink and this very intriguing, weird little photo here. I think it's gonna be really cool. I picked it up because of the cover, but then the synopsis really drew me in. This is about Josephine, and Josephine went to a very elite boarding school for all girls, and now she is in her 30s. She decides to go back to the old boarding school. I think that it is in ruins, and she starts to reflect on her life as a teenager and how the things that she experienced have really affected her as an older woman. Well, older, 30s, yeah, it's not really that old, but. And just so you know, anytime a book takes place at like an elite boarding school or there's somebody who is reflecting on their past self, I love books like that. Especially when it's like reflecting on how what you did as a teenager really affects who you are as an adult, because I definitely agree with that. And I don't know, I think it's gonna be a really, really fun book to read. And yeah, so I'm gonna read it. Next up is a book by Britt Bennett, and that is The Mothers. Again, we have one of my favorite aesthetics for a cover, which are lots and lots of bright, beautiful colors. I mean, like, you can't look at this and be sad, you know? You're going through a lot in life, you see this cover, you smile. So this particular book is following Nadia, and Nadia has just lost her mother at 17, and so she decides to start up a secret relationship with the pastor's son in her town. This follows the choices that she makes as a 17-year-old and how that affects her when she is growing up. I'm not really exactly sure how everything connects to motherhood, but I think her and her friends all become mothers when they are older, and Nadia is just reminiscing on the past and wondering what would have happened if she had made different life choices. Next is a book, and I don't remember if I've talked about it, so I apologize if I've already mentioned this book, but I have such a fun age, and this is by Kylie Reed. So this book follows Amira and Alex, who are two women who kind of work together. So Alex has a child, and Amira is babysitting that child one night when a security guard accuses Amira of stealing the child because Amira is black and the child is white. And whoever the security guard is, we don't like them. This book actually is exploring the complexities of what happens then, like what happens after she's been accused. I think that this is going to have a lot of really important commentary on today's society, but also it just sounds like a really compelling read. I'm very excited to pick this one up. Next up is a book that sounds really intriguing, but it kind of has like a low rating on Goodreads, so I'm interested to see if I like it or if I hate it, and that is The Harpy, and this is by Megan Hunter. I have heard very mixed things about this book though. I really, really don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. This is about a couple. I believe that the husband cheats on his wife, and so to like even the playing field, she's allowed to hurt him 5 different ways or 5 different times. So it sounds very dark. And this is just kind of about like what happens, what she chooses to do. Does she choose to start other relationships? Does she choose to, like, I don't know what she chooses to do. It sounds really messy. And you know what? Messy sounds entertaining to me. So also though, I've heard that this kind of reads like a dark fairy tale. And when I heard that particular description of it, that's when I was like, okay, I kind of want to try it out and see if there's any like speculative elements in this, or if it's the writing that feels really magical. So I don't know if I'm gonna love it or hate it, but I think it'll be like a fun ride either way. Next, I have Susanna Clark's Piranesi. I feel like I'm saying that very, very wrong. This is a speculative story. It's a little bit shorter, and it essentially is about this house, and this house is kind of like a maze. Most people say that when you start this book, you shouldn't know anything about it other than that, and then they don't tell me the synopsis. So I don't know what this book is about. Essentially, this is about a person named Piranesi who is exploring this house, and the house feels never ending. And so I think we're just trying to figure out what exactly is this house and who is this person. Next up, I have The Death of Vivek Oji, and this is by Akawe Emezi. This is about Vivek, and Vivek is a baby who is left on the doorstep of his family, and it is about the family complexities and dynamics, but also it is about Vivek, I think, self-discovering something about themselves. I think it's going to be really, really great. I've heard so many wonderful praises from this book from other booktubers and book reviewers who I really look up to. I think I'm going to love it. I'm very excited to start reading this one. The next book is Kristen Hanna's The Four Winds, and this is a historical fiction. So this is about Elsa in the 1920s in Texas, and she decides to marry a man that she barely knows. So this book is all about their relationship and also whether they should go west to California or if they should stay in Texas. Next up is The Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. This follows a Colombian family, and I think that this is a multi-generational story, which I absolutely love. We are following Talia, and Talia, I think, has just gotten out of jail. We explore what is happening in her life, but also what happened in her family's life and how her parents fell in love as teenagers. I don't know a lot about it, but I love the idea of reading a multi-generational story, and I love that it's all going to take place in Colombia as well. I think it's going to be really, really wonderful. And it also is kind of giving me Gabriel Garcia Marquez vibes, which I love Gabriel Garcia Marquez, so I'm really excited and very hopeful for this book. I think that this is going to be really good. Next up, I have The Office of Historical Corrections by Daniela Evans. I don't know a lot about this other than this is the collection of different short stories, and as you guys know, I am trying to read more short stories, so I think this will be really, really fun. I believe that these are all contemporary short stories. I don't know. I don't really know a lot more about that than the fact that they are short stories and that they are contemporary, but I think that this will be really, really fun to read, and again, I love the very fun and colorful cover. Next up, I have The Final Revival of Opal and Nev, and this is by Donnie Walton. I've heard from the blurb is going to be for people who are big fans of Daisy Jones and the Six, which was one of my favorite books the year that I read it. I just thought it was really, really interesting. I loved the audiobook, but also I love Taylor Jenkins Reid just in general. She is amazing. So this is about Opal, and Opal is in a band, I believe. She is an up-and-coming artist. This is about her interviews, I think, with Nev, and as the interviews progress, it kind of discovers an accusation that might possibly rock Opal's world. This is going to be for fans who love rock and roll and who love music, and that's me. Next up, I have Honey Girl, and this is by Morgan Rogers. This is about a girl who goes to Vegas and wakes up and finds herself married, but then I think her wife, her new wife, leaves in the middle of the night, and so she has to track down who this person is. I think it sounds really good because the premise of like waking up married to someone in Vegas just like never gets old to me, you know? That's what you get for waking up in Vegas. Anyways, next up is The Lost Apothecary, and this is by Sarah Penner. And the only thing I know about this is that it takes place in the 18th century in London, and the person who is doing the apothecary is actually selling poisons to women who have been abused by men. I mean, like, this sounds so freaking cool. So it's a little bit of a fantasy, but also it just sounds like a badass historical fiction. I think it's going to be really, really cool, and I love the premise with my whole entire heart. Next up is another beautiful cover, and that is What's Mine and Yours, and this is by Naima Coster. So I believe that this follows G and Noelle, who are friends and who meet at school, and somehow their families, even though they're very different, becomes intrinsically tied with each other, and it's just about their bonds and what happens when they become very close. And then finally, the very last book I have to share with you is by Carola Lovering, and it is Too Good to Be True, a novel. This is a thriller, and this follows 3 different perspectives, and we are trying to figure out which perspective is telling the truth. But it's a little bit of like a love triangle too, I believe. And apparently we don't know which narrator to trust, who is really in love with who. I think it's gonna be really cool. It sounds like a really, really fascinating thriller, and I love books with unreliable narrators, so very excited to pick this one up as well. And you guys, I think that is gonna do it for that very lengthy book haul. So once again, thank you so much to Nordgreen for sponsoring this, and thank all of you for all of your very, very sweet comments and all of the books that you've sent me and all of the letters and postcards as well. I love all of you so very much. So you guys, until next time, please keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye!
You spin around, you laugh to yourself, and I see you shine in every color, resting your head in my arms. You sing la la la.